Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to solve reading passage 3 of the book IELTS Academic Volume 1, which is offered to you once you book your test. These are some practice passages that you have to solve. In the previous two videos I had done reading passage 1 and 2. If you want to watch those videos, please go check them out. And if you had noticed, both the previous passages were related to science. One was glaciers, the other was comet missions. Now this one is a history related passage, the Romans of Watling Street. So if you want to get some idea about the text, you can go ahead and read the first few lines. So a relatively nondescript grassy bank of Northamptonshire hides one of the greatest feats of engineering seen in Britain. So this is talking about a stretch of land of the great 444-kilometer long Watling Street. So this is some kind of historical marvel that we are going to read about. Romans of Watling Street. Let's come to the questions and see what kind of questions do we have. So the first set of questions is a list of headings and we have only 4 questions. So para A is missing B, C, D and E. Okay, 4 questions from matching headings. Then we have multiple choice questions and we have, okay, so about 6 multiple choice questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and the last one is complete each sentence with the correct ending. So this question is getting repeated, matching sentence ending. So again, we have 4 questions over here. Now let's get started with the first one, matching headings question. So we will not read the para A because obviously it is not useful for us. So let's come to para B now. First, before you even read the paragraphs, you have to first analyze and understand the list of headings. So let's go deep into them. The function of roads for the Romans. So this particular para is going to talk about function of roads for the Romans. Okay. So maybe some uses, some work that was assigned to roads. Improvement on a system. Okay. Why the Romans came to Britain. So what was the reason behind that? Current conservation efforts, okay, current, so these days, streets and roads in older times, impacts on local communities, makeup of Roman roads. Now, once you've read and understood the headings, you have to see if there are any 2 headings which are looking similar to each other. If you see such a thing, you have to read those headings again and try to find differences between them. For example, you may say street and roads in older times and makeup of Roman roads, looking slightly similar to each other. But here they are talking about street and roads in older times in general, and here they are talking about makeup. So what was the constituent of Roman roads in particular, right? So this is the kind of confusion you are going to remove in your mind. Let's come to para B now. Keeping the lists of headings in our mind. Para B, let's jump into that. Okay. So it's talking about, it's notable, but it's talking about the basic framework for the road network was in use before Romans came into Britain. The cells, pre-cells, okay. However, we understand by road is in meaning far from ancient Britons took to it mean. In those times, a road was most likely a grassy track. It is undoubtedly possible that some Celtic sections of the track had their origins back in prehistoric times, and there is evidence to suggest that Celts used the same routes as their ancestors. Okay. So now what you do is you see what kind of discussion is there. So we see they are talking about the road framework or road network, but it is not only specific to Romans. They said that it was used by Celts, pre-Celts, and even prehistoric times. So this has actually nothing to do with the Romans. Now we come to the headings. So here you go, you get the answer. It is streets and roads in older times, right? Not the makeup of the Roman roads. Let's come to para C. Now here we are seeing Romans are credited. So it is now talking about Romans specifically, right? Okay. Now they are credited with bringing much to Britain, okay? Effectively built cities, right? To sanitation, okay? One of the greatest legacies. Okay, so before we come to para C, let's take a look at the options. So we are done with the fifth one, so we strike it out. We are left with functions of roads, improvement on a system, why Romans came to Britain, current conservation efforts, impact on local communities, makeup of Roman roads. All right. Okay. So we have over here. So Romans are credited with bringing much to Britain. So now they are talking about Romans specifically, right? Unlike the previous para. So effectively built cities, sanitation. One of their greatest legacies, however, was the vast network. So definitely something to do with roads, right? So either it can be the first one. Okay, let's see. Let's not jump into conclusions. Or the last one. Okay. The new inhabitants of the country improved upon the grassy tracks that had previously been transporting people and paved them. Okay. So they had improved the roads. And then, so earlier the roads were grassy tracks and now they were paved with gravel, right? So thereby demonstrating some resemblance to techniques we use today. So you see there are a lot of things that will, distract you from reaching the answer. It is talking about road system. It is talking about improvement in the road system. Then it is talking about the makeup of the roads because it is mentioning gravel. And it is also talking about the techniques we use today. But is it the conservation technique? Current conservation technique? No, it's not talking about current conservation efforts. No. So it can't be the fourth one. Makeup of the Roman roads. Why? Because it is only talking about it was paved with gravel. So it is not really mentioning how it was made. So can't be the seventh one as well. Right? So it has been estimated but created. So and so roads were created. 3,200 kilometers. Okay. And it is also not really mentioning what were the other functions that the roads were being used for. All it is mentioning is that it was an important route for the Romans. So it's definitely not the function that the road served. And so now we come to the headings. So it is definitely not the function of the roads for the Romans, right? What purpose did it serve? No. It is definitely not the makeup and not the current conservation efforts. It is improvement on a system. Because one system was already there. There was a grassy track that was there. But now they were improving it with a gravel finish. So the answer is going to be the second one for this. Now come to para D. So para D, we are left with function of roads. Why they came to Britain, current conservation efforts, impact on local communities, makeup of Roman roads. Okay, this is para D. Right, is it visible properly? Yes. Okay. So the construction of roads tended to echo techniques used on the content, and elements of this work can still be seen in the modern construction methods. Okay, again, modern construction methods, not conservation methods. So it's definitely not the conservation one. Okay, now, so it's talking about the techniques. Central carriageway was to raise earth, was made the best material available, was made with the best material available. Okay, small ditches were dug in order for rainfall to collect. Okay, made room for pedestrian and animals to walk off the main road. Okay, roads of larger stones, then added smaller, lighter material to fill gap, create more even surface. Okay, sometimes the roads were straightened to make it easier. What I feel is it is talking about the makeup of Roman roads, because everywhere it is talking about what material was used and what kind of roads were built. So this is the whole makeup of the roads. How did it all look like and what material went into the road making. So this is going to be the 7th one. Let's come to para E. Okay, so we are left with impact on local communities, Romans came, current conservation, function of roads. Could be function of roads, but I'm not sure. Yep, it is, because if you see, the roads were mainly used for military purposes, such as transporting personnel and supplies. This was the most likely main use. Again, you know, use word is repeated. Allowed commerce and trade to take place most readily. Romans built sturdier crossings. Okay, so basically the function of the roads, that is there. So E is the first one. Okay, now let's come to the multiple choice questions. According to the writer, the Northamptonshire stretch. So Northamptonshire stretch, we go back to the para 1 of Watling Street. So we read about the Northamptonshire stretch of Watling Street is liable for future industrial development. I mean, it led to it, is typical of other roads across the country, is only a small portion of the network, is the greatest archaeological discovery. The answer closely, greatest archaeological discovery, only a small portion of the network. So we are going to focus specifically on Northamptonshire stretch of the Watling Street, not the whole Watling Street. Right? So we see, okay, so here we go. Grassy bank in Northamptonshire hides one of the greatest feats of engineering seen in Britain. So this Northamptonshire stretch is actually a 2.5 kilometer stretch of land, once formed a section of the great 444 kilometer long Watling Street, the best known of the 4. Okay, and therefore is of huge archaeological importance. Okay, it became a protected monument in 2013. Fairly rare as a decay. Okay, huge archaeological. So is it a huge archaeological discovery or the greatest discovery? No, it is not the greatest discovery, right? So huge and greatest is the greatest discovery. So there is nothing beyond it. So this is definitely not the answer. I feel this can be the answer because it is only a small portion of the network, because it is a 2.5 kilometer stretch of the 444 kilometer Watling Street. So the correct answer for this is the C part. It is the C part. Okay. Now next question is ancient uses of the word road. I think we read it somewhere. Meaning of the word road. And it was over here in para B. However, what we understand by road, right? So let's come to this one question and read the options before we come to the passage. Okay, so ancient uses of the word road differ greatly in comparison to the present use. Okay, so ancient use is different from the present use. Only refer to paths longer than that's not possible. How cells describe the paths of their ancestors included a wide range of types of path. I think it is D. Why? Because it was actually a grassy path, right? So earlier, see, in those times, a road was most likely a grassy track or even a dirt path, right? So it had a lot of meanings. A dirt path, a grassy track, everything was called road. Unlike and far from what the ancient Britons took it to mean, right? So it is the D one. Included a wide range of types of path, from grassy to dirt path, right? Now come to the 33rd. In the construction of Roman roads, larger rocks were, okay, so we go into the makeup paragraph, that's para D, larger rocks. So we had read it already. Larger rocks, I think I read it somewhere over here. Larger rocks. Larger rocks, right? Okay. So where were they placed? They were placed at the site, deemed too heavy, covered by small ones, stacked on a ditch. Okay. Covered by smaller ones. Were they covered by smaller ones? They were stacked in a ditch, placed at the side. I think A is definitely not the answer because they were not placed on the side, because they were put in the bottom. Were they too heavy? Were they covered by smaller ones? I think it's pretty straightforward. Larger stones at the bottom, which was then added smaller, lighter material to fill gaps. So then first of all, there were bigger ones and then lighter ones, smaller ones, to create a more even surface. I think it could be C, covered by smaller ones. Okay, let's come to the 34th. The writer says that after the Romans left Britain, it is D, because I read it here. It fell into disrepair. Road network was good, but it fell into disrepair soon after the Romans left Britain. Right, so it is D. Then, now this is a new one. Watling's tribe in Britain. They were of the Roman origin, gave their name to a town, were the most important family settled in the region before the Celts. Okay, so Watling tribe. Okay, so here we find it in the F para. Influential tribe. Name has been loosely connected with that of the Watling Strait, not the town. Anglo-Saxon period of British history. Okay, and its name derives an essential root after the Romans had left. And its name most likely derives from Anglo-Saxon tribe who occupied the region after the Romans. Okay, so this is not, let's read. St. Albans, one of the key points on the route, was known by its ancient name, okay, which also came from the tribe. So St. Albans, which was a key point on the route. So this is a route and there is a point on the route. So this is St. Albans and it got its name from the tribe. So this can be considered as a name of a town. Other than that, there is no match. They were of the Roman origin, no important family in Britain. They were a tribe. It says were the most important family, influential is there, but the word family, it's not the family, it was a tribe. It was an influential tribe, not a family, right? So this can't be our answer. They were of Roman origin, that's not mentioned, right? It was an Anglo-Saxon tribe, so it was not a Roman. Settled, again, Celts is not mentioned. So gave their name to a town and that is St. Albans. Right, so it is going to be the B1. Now come to 36th. According to the final para, modern roads are of similar standard to Roman roads, should be excavated, often stick to Roman directions, serve a vastly different purpose. Okay. Modern roads. So we come to the last para, and that is modern roads. The Romans left a lasting legacy on the road map, and much of it can be seen today. Same routes as those used by, okay, still in use, albeit maintain modern standards. Okay, I think, so would you choose the A1 or the C1? That's the question. The question is, are they of the similar standard or do they stick to Roman directions? This is what you have to find out. So it says, albeit maintain to modern standards. So it is no longer Roman standards. Of course, the directions and the routes are still existent even today. Right? So that's how you'll make a difference, a choice. So it is the C1, not the A part. Okay, often stick to Roman directions. Okay, now let's come to the last set of questions. That's 4 questions we have and matching sentence endings. Rainwater was not a problem because Romans managed to. Now when it comes to rainwater, it is just, scattered. So you have to find the word rainwater. I think rainwater was mentioned in para D because I saw rainfall over there. In order for rainfall to collect, this ensured road remained dry, as dry as possible. Right, rainwater. So rainwater was not a problem because the Roman managed to, so they constructed the ditches at the side for the rainwater to collect it, right? So it's going to be C. The methods of building roads in Romans were 2. Methods of building. So methods is the techniques, and we go to para D again. Methods, techniques. The construction of Roman roads in Britain tend to echo techniques. Echo means when you say something, your echo is produced. So what you're doing with echo? It is something same, but it is like you are reproducing, basically. Reproducing or a repetition of what you see. Repeat, right? Used on the continent. Continent means other places outside Britain. So your answer can be nearby countries. Copy. Echo. Echo is copy, right? Copy from other nearby countries. So this is going to be B. Main reason why roads were built was to. I think reason. Reason is use of this. Main use, right? So although this was the most likely the main use. So most main use was military purposes, transporting personnel and supplies. So this was the main use. Main use was personnel and equipment. So officers and equipment. So this is going to be F. Some Roman roads today are likely to. We go back to the last para. Some Roman roads. Many of the country's motorways follow the same route as those followed by the Romans, and some of the smaller connecting roads are still in use. As archaeological excavations continue, scientists and experts alike can only wonder at the level of engineering knowledge the Romans possessed when they came to Britain. So archaeological excavations also continue. Connect to farthest place, not mentioned actually. Construct ditches, no, that's done. So B, C, F is done. B saved from, no. The only option that's left is D. Likely to be re-examined for further archaeological evidence. Yeah, this can be considered as the answer because if you see over here, as archaeological excavations continues, they can only wonder at the level of engineering knowledge they possessed, right? So this can be our answer. So with this, we have completed the whole passage. So stay tuned and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.